Howdy folks, I am careful barren ground caribou, cautiously carabining down climbing cliffs.
I'm Amber.
And here are more climbing cliffs for us to carabine down, because what else are you gonna do when you're a caribou? Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Denying My Ex His Son After He Abandoned Us, and I Took the Choice Alone to Give Him Up for Adoption? Throw away, so get your This Is Fake Because New Account comments out early. I'm a 32-year-old female, and I had a baby boy when I was 16. Yes, I know how that sounds. No, we weren't careful. Judge me all you want for that. I've dealt with it for years. Mike, a 33-year-old male, was my boyfriend then, and when I found out about my pregnancy, he did a disappearing act with the help of his family. Something, future college star, something. My parents were always blunt. What happened next was my choice. After a lot of thinking and deciding that a termination wasn't for me, I respect the right, I'm just not here to debate it, it just wasn't for me. I chose to give the baby up for adoption. My parents knew a super sweet couple that were looking to adopt. We met and I just knew that they were the right people. This turned from a teen mistake to an almost surrogacy. I started homeschool to finish my education to have a rest. The adoptive parents were with me for everything and paid for most of the medical costs. The adoptive mother was also a teacher, so she helped me with my schoolwork and to prepare for college. They were present for the birth, and I refused to hold the baby. Instead, his actual mother did, and it was just right. I've stayed in the baby's life as a distant position as a special aunt. Well, he no longer is a baby, and he knows who I am, but his mom is the same woman that raised him, and I continue to be his special aunt. The only change is now he knows who to call if he needs a kidney. His sense of humor is like mine, go figure. We talk maybe once in a blue moon, which in all honesty is the best. He is happy, and I don't regret giving him up to have a happy life. For my part, I married 6 years ago. My husband, Aaron, a 44-year-old male, was divorced and in good terms with Bella, a 40-year-old female. They have 2 children together, a boy that is 16 and a girl that's 19. Aaron made it clear that since we began dating, that his kids' approval was important and that Bella was part of their life forever. Not as a spouse, but as a friend and a mother to his children. I also told Bella and him about my teen pregnancy. Well, to begin with, the kids, my stepdaughter and I get along well. She's obviously closer to her mother, but she does a girls' day with me every so often. It's more like a friends thing, though. My stepson is incredibly close to me. He calls me his other mother and always asks me to be present for important events. We bonded when his childhood dog passed away and my cat died about the same time. Bella and I were best friends. I know people have complicated relationship with their partner's exes, but we always show each other respect. I never tried to take her place. I know that Aaron and her shared something special long before I was in the picture. That's their history, and I'm a stepmom, not a mom. Her place in the kid's life is not up for competition. The reason for this background is that the whole mess with Mike started when I took my stepson to a medical appointment. It wasn't serious, though he did have to use anesthesia. Aaron and Bella both couldn't get the day off. They tried, but their jobs are on call and they cannot easily take time off. So I went on my own to be my stepson's support. I didn't recognize Mike as one of the doctors. His real name, both first and last, are incredibly common, and it had been years. Not to mention, my priority was on my stepson's support, and everything else was secondary. After my stepson was done, he was a bit out of it, as expected. I was setting him up in the car and making sure that he was comfortable when Mike came over. He told me that he'd been thinking about our son for so long, and he was glad that our boy was okay. It really took me a few minutes for my brain to click on what was going on, and he kept rambling on about apologies and how he wasn't ready to be a father. Blah, blah, blah. Eventually, I just sighed and I said loudly, "This is not the baby that I was pregnant with. I gave him up for adoption after I gave birth. I am a stepmother." My loopy stepson chimed in with, "Other mother." I had to hold back a smirk, to be quite honest. Mike was stunned, and that gave me time to catch him up on important details. I gave the baby up, and he knew what happened. I gave up the baby. He knows what happened and why I gave him up. I married a man with 2 children, and I'm happy that I don't want him in my life. And no, I won't give him contact information for the adoptive family. He's 16 years too late. And that was the end of it, and I got into my car to get my stepson home to rest. Since then, Mike found me on social media and has been painting the sob story about me denying him a chance to be a father. How I was a poor mother, that threw away her child to raise someone else's children. That I'm basically the she-devil, apparently. Most of our former classmates saw the post, reminded him that he left me. Some of his high school friends even pointed out that he laughed about leaving me pregnant. I didn't know that part. A few of his relatives have reached out to bash me about taking Mike's chance away to be a father. That made me a poor Christian, which I'm not. I'm Jewish to begin with. A few friends did tell me that it was a B move to give the baby up without telling Mike. I don't personally think that I was in the wrong, but in case I decided to leave the judgment to the internet masses. So Reddit, am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. I mean, he gave up his chance to be a parent when he dumped you. Uh, what were you supposed to do? Just like hold on to the kid for 16 years just in case he decided to waltz back into his life?
Yeah,
Like,
for this one chance meeting.
yes. Yeah, exactly. So I feel like OP did what she felt was in the best interest of the child, and he has a happy, loving home, and that's all any kid could really ask for.
Well, and that's it, right? I mean, the kid seems to be thriving, and OP does mention in the comments that they were able to provide him with a quality of life that OP would not have been able to afford, not even working 24/7, you know. And what was a young teenager without a college degree, without, you know, any resources supposed to do at a certain point, right? And I think that she made a good decision for her, right? She
Hmm.
made the best decision she could for herself, and it really works out because now she can still see her son when she wants to. I mean, her biological son when she wants to, and she has great stepchildren, right? Now, as for this Mike guy, I think that he kind of showed his true colors, especially with like the additional Facebook posts and stuff like that, right?
Right. I mean, he has not reached out to her in 16 years. He
Yeah.
was just expecting her to take care of this kid all on her own. Like, he's a doctor. Clearly, he has some money. Never once did he, like, hey, I'll give you some child support or anything.
Yeah.
He had no interest in this kid until OP walked into the hospital. And then he was like, oh, the caretaking's all done. Maybe I can swoop in and be, that father figure.
Yeah. I think it's just really gross because, like you said, there was no mention of child support, there was no mention of back pay, there was nothing, right? He just wanted to come in and be a father, even though it doesn't work that way, right?
Hmm.
And, you know, even if OP had kept the child, he still wouldn't be entitled to just waltz into the kid's life, right?
Right.
Like OP could go and talk to their son and say, hey, you know, your father, you know, wants to meet you or something like that, right? Do you want to meet them? And then put the ball in their court. But it really would be his choice at a certain point. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Garbage says, well, you abandoned your own child, so yeah, you're the jerk regardless of any context. That poor kid. And OP replies, poor kid, he lives with two loving parents in a 5-bedroom house with a pool. He's loved and has a future that I couldn't give him even if I worked to the bone. I wasn't a fit mother at 16 with no college education or work experience.
Like, and the irony here is, like, the family members are coming after OP for being a bad Christian, and probably this person here too. I mean, I can't speak about them particularly. So many of these people talk about how adoption is a loving option and whatnot. Where is that now?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, not everyone is fit to be a parent.
Yeah.
What matters is, one, well, of course, your own mental health matters, but also giving the child a better opportunity. If you know you're not going to be a fit parent for that child, then I think that's the better option you can do.
Yeah. And Snoo Pets 8873 says, how did you terminate his rights in time for the adoption at birth and without him knowing it? Or did you not do a legal adoption? And OP replies, we didn't do a legal adoption at birth. I gave them the baby though. The legal part took almost a year. A court had to terminate the rights and that was a whole process. I didn't want the adoptive parents to miss out on bonding with the baby, so while they weren't the legal parents yet, they did raise the baby. This influenced a lot of the court's decisions, by the way. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not letting my wife sleep when she promised to go to therapy with me? I'm a 28-year-old male, and my wife, a 26-year-old female, got into a bad fight today because I woke her up from the nap to get her ready to go to therapy with me. I've been going to therapy for a few months now, and my therapist and I thought that it would be a good idea for her to come to a session or two. A few weeks ago, when I scheduled it, she promised that she would come with me and seemed a little hesitant but supportive. Fast forward to today, and I got home from work tired, and she was on her way home from her sister's house after taking our son to a birthday party. My phone was messing up, and she couldn't hear me talking without a lot of static, so we didn't get to talk on her drive home. But she said that I could text her if I needed to say something before she got home, and that she had a bad headache. Well, when she got home, she told me that she had a migraine and really needed a nap, and that I could text her any updates about the day. She is about 5 months pregnant at this point, so she really can't take any medicines to make them go away like she used to. So I went about my business for about an hour, I took care of our dog, and I went into our room to wake her up. It took about 10 minutes of talking to her and lightly shaking her to get her to wake up, and she seemed really upset, and we went back and forth fighting for a few minutes before I gave up and I walked out. I ended up going to therapy alone, angry, and got there late. I just got home and I'm still upset that she broke her promise. She said that I was being a jerk, but I don't think that I did anything wrong because we made these plans weeks ago. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, yes, you're a major jerk. You made plans under assumption that conditions would be right, everyone would be good enough health, the weather would be right, and whatnot. Sometimes things happen that are beyond our control. In this case, she got a migraine. Her not wanting to go to the appointment with a migraine is not breaking a promise. Because what good is she going to be to you at the appointment if she's just like doubled over in pain?
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, right? I mean, the therapy sessions are meant to basically help OP work through something, right? And maybe her going for support or going to help, give background to the therapist or, all those kinds of things could be helpful, but it wasn't like this had to be done then and there, right? There were other future sessions that she could have attended. And I think that it was rude for him to spend 10 minutes trying to wake her up and then be like, you're rude for not coming along with me. I mean, I think he should have just gotten the hint at a certain point and been like, she's tired, she's pregnant, she's got a bad headache. I'm going to leave her alone and let her, do her own thing.
Yeah. Because migraines are no joke. And the sheer selfishness here that he seems to think that his desire to have her at therapy matters more than her physical well-being.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, but let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Certified Drama Llama.
OP is a drama llama, but also they need a little empathy.
Yeah. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Today I Messed Up by Sending One of My Employees Home Early. Hey there, this is my first post on the subreddit, and honestly, it still feels like a dream. Flashback about 3 days ago. I know it's not today, but it took a couple of days for me to get the info I have now. Trust me. I'm a manager at a fast food restaurant, and I was checking labor, and it was really high, so I decided to send one of the cashiers home early, since he had been there the longest. We'll call him Chris. Chris never minded going home early, but today he was a little bit bummed because he was trying to make some extra money, so I did feel a little bad about it, but he had to go. So Chris leaves, the day continues, and my shift ends, and I go home. The next day, Chris is supposed to come in at 4, and he's a no-show. I think, that's strange, and I message him and ask him where he was at. No reply. I'm a little annoyed because now I have to have someone else come in when they weren't scheduled, which isn't the easiest of tasks. Anyways, I call someone and they come in and it's chill. The next day, once again, Chris is a no-show. I call him this time, I leave him a message that it's not acceptable for him just to disappear without informing anyone about his whereabouts. I'm a little more frustrated today because I have no idea where this guy is, but again, the day continues and my shift ends. On the third day, Chris shows up. I ask him where he's been, and you all will not believe what this man said. Apparently, after I sent him home, he was driving down the road. There's a really busy road that crosses us, and he got T-boned by another car. Those days that he didn't show up, he was at the hospital. The calls and messages that he didn't answer, his phone was destroyed. He couldn't make it to work because his car was totaled. What in the final destination is this? I have never ever felt so horrible about sending someone home early. I immediately apologized. and he told me that it was fine and that his hip was just a little bit messed up. He even ended up thanking me because he was filing a lawsuit on the other person involved because it was a hit and run. He says that the money that he'll receive probably will be enough to buy him a new car. Everyone's been joking about it, and one of the other managers even joked that I should get a cut of the money. I'm still mortified. Had I not sent him home, he probably would have been fine. Edit, Chris starts work at 6 a.m. and leaves at 3 p.m. I clocked in at 2 p.m. and had him leave an hour before scheduled. All right, folks, what do you think?
That what a story. Like, I'm glad he's okay and everything. But wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where OP couldn't have foreseen the future. And I know that they're saying, like, oh, I feel bad about sending him home, but this could have been any of the other employees. Like, since this was a hit and run type of situation,
Mm-hmm.
it could have been anyone pulling out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it wasn't Chris in this particular case, it could have been someone else. And that's just the reality of the situation. As for Chris getting a new car and stuff like that, I mean, hopefully he gets a little bit more than just a car out of this situation,
Yeah.
right? Hit and runs are no joke. And, like, you need to just step up and actually take responsibility for your actions, and especially if they've hurt somebody. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What might you call a wedded building?
I would call a wedded building a married building. A chapel? I don't know.
A house spouse.
A house spouse. Interesting. Interesting.
Today is National Spouse Day.
So that's right, folks. Go and marry a house so that they can be your spouse house.
Yeah, or, celebrate your spouse if they're a good partner, unlike a lot of these Reddit partners.
Yes. And I have the special guest tea, some matcha. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Special Sunday, folks. I hope your Sunday is off to a special start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on therapy.
Therapy can be a very useful tool, but it is not an excuse to drag your ill partner out of the house.
I agree. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!